Please put your hands together for the feminist, the magnificent Bobbie-Ann!
That's what I'm talking about. We're doing good? I'm a little bit frazzled. I travelled down from Manchester today on a 7-hour megabus service. Megabus, or as I like to call it, the working man's National Express. And I was sat next to this girl on the bus, and she was reading a book called The Girl on the Train. I said to her, love, you're reading the wrong book. So I called the British Transport Police. I saw something that didn't look right. It was not right. Hopefully all of you in this room, I did a lateral flow test this morning. Give me a cheer if yours was negative. Give me a cheer if it was positive. Yeah, just me. Okay. Just test yourself over the next 7 days. I'm joking. If I had it, I wouldn't admit. I've got a funny story to do with a lateral flow test. So autumn just gone, I was an absolute tart, right? And I was sleeping with somebody, and they booty called me while I was at work and said, "Hey, do you want to come round tonight?" I was like, "Yeah." I was like, excited, and she said, cool. Well, can you just make sure that you do a lateral flow test before you come over, because my husband's vulnerable, that kind of thing. So I did one, but I did one while I was at work. I got some tests from the college I work at, and I went to the bathroom, toilet floor in my building, and I did one on the floor, shaking with arousal. Just trying to get the juice out of the extraction buffer tube, getting it everywhere. It was marvellous. And I didn't think far enough ahead to realise that, oh shit, this takes 30 minutes to render. And I didn't have 30 minutes to spare, right? I had to go home, shower, shave my tits, everything. You think I'm joking, I've got polycystic ovaries, that's just what happens. So what I ended up doing, just to keep it flat and be time efficient, was walking home with the little cassette in the palm of my hand, like a horny egg and spoon race. It was marvellous, had a great time. But I was quite sceptical with lateral flow tests to begin with, because I'm not sure whether you've heard, it's been covered up by the NHS and the government, but lateral flow tests, they actually contain a complex mixture of stem cells that, when they interact with the DNA from your saliva, they can grow into a fully grown clone of you. It's terrifying, and they're sentient, and they're just as annoying as me. It was marvellous. And one of them tried to convince me that I was the clone and they were the human. I had to tell them that humans don't have a control line on the forehead. It was a great time. Now, you're all laughing at that, but I've got to warn you, that's an example of misinformation. You really got to watch out for that, you've got to watch out for it. Just because I look like a primary school teacher doesn't mean everything they say is true. All primary school teachers are terrible. I'm joking, that was a fragrant lie. Oh, terrible. But misinformation, I've been following the anti-vaccination movement. Are we aware of the anti-vaccination movement? Oh, disapproving. I've been looking into them, and I just think they're fascinating people, right? Because they're doing all of this independent scientific research when none of them are scientifically trained, and none of them read The Independent. You've really got to admire their vigour. And I got really inspired by them. I thought, hey, I can do my own scientific study. I've got an A-level in physics, which is the main cause of my anxiety dreams, by the way. Not stand-up, not bereavements, A-level physics. Terrible. A-level physics, what can you say? It has its moments. It's a joke that a physicist said there. And, oh God, it was terrible. What was I talking about? Yeah, A-level physics. And so I did my own study, right, and it was an investigation into the correlation between needles and people who go on anti-vaccination protests. Okay, I spent a long time on this, and it has 5 major points. So I'm gonna whip my study out of thin air. Bear with me. Oh, here it is. Okay, so what do needles and anti-vaxxers have in common? Number 1, they're both pricks. I'm sure someone beat me to it, so it's a good one. Number 2, they carry infectious diseases. Number 3, they need to be placed in a special bin. Right in the shark's box. You can tell I had a diabetic for a brother growing up, can't you? Number 4, they can prove dangerous if there's air inside of them. And number 5, you have to be careful you don't step on them in dodgy alleyways. And you know, speaking of pricks that spread misinformation, let's talk about J.K. Rowling, shall we? So, you know, J.K. Rowling, she wasn't invited to take part in the 20th anniversary reunion of Harry Potter that aired over the winter because of her very controversial, harmful opinions on transgender people. And so, but in a way to kind of like meet the audience halfway, what they did was they had like really old interview footage, and they would have like an apologetic disclaimer in the top hand corner that just said filmed in 2019. Which is it's the same like kind of awkward apology you get from your parents when they've just told you that your horrible aunt has been invited for Christmas dinner, and you confront your mum about it, and your mum's like, look, we didn't want to invite her, but she got us a present. She got us a box of biscuits from Marks, the really nice biscuits as well, the more chocolate than biscuit biscuits. And you got a present, just you. Yes, I know it was a really strange box of mysterious soap. That's been re-gifted about 5 times and was probably produced way before the use of lead in cosmetics was criminalised. But she means well. No, actually, she doesn't mean well. She votes Conservative. But you know what? You know what, Bob? If we don't invite her, then your racist grandma is going to complain. And yes, in this analogy, the racist grandma is a metaphor for Piers Morgan. I know she's a horrible person. I know she told you that you were too fat to get a boyfriend when you were only 10 years old. But she single-handedly stopped the death of reading in the late 90s. If it wasn't for your Auntie Joanne, Tony Blair was going to burn all the books and blind all the children. And your Auntie Joanne flew into battle bare-breasted and gave every single man, woman and child a copy of Harry Potter and the Pornographer's Moan. And everybody immediately got a first-class degree in English literature with honours from a red brick prestigious Russell Group university, which set them up quite comfortably and mundanely for a long, fulfilling career in business administration. If it wasn't for your Auntie Joanne, we'd have no administrators. People would have to do their own bastard paperwork. But what does make you laugh about J.K. Rowling? One of the few things that makes me laugh about J.K. Rowling nowadays is that she will just decide that her characters are gay, after people have stopped caring about them. So, like the most surprising example, which not many people know about, is actually Hedwig. She revealed in an interview that Hedwig the owl was a lesbian the whole time. It was blatantly obvious, because if you reread Prisoner of Azkaban, the gayest of the entire series, I've got to add, if you reread it and look on page 69, it's very, very clear that she's a lesbian, because not only does she have a forearm tattoo, but she also has a pierced clitoris. But the biggest giveaway is that she really, really likes Hooters. Hedwig, so named because she gives good head and she'll snatch your wig. That was me, been a delight, thank you.